Hey folks, Levi here once again. Welcome back to another review. Oh, I drew my revisit review slash rant on Iron Man 3. Now, I didn't hate that movie, but I don't like it, and honestly, I don't think I'll be able to get it no more. There's some good things about it, but I think it's the weakest of the Iron Man trilogy, my least favorite Iron Man film, and also one of my least favorite of the MCU. But the next two movies here I'm talking about reviewing, these films were also in 2013. They both this. I'm talking about movies now. Again, y'all remember Levi McNally, the mass profile picture? Thank you for the 165 subs, guys. Keep on subscribing. I appreciate it. The support. Remember, everything I just say in a movie about a movie in my videos is just 100% purely my opinion, okay? I'm not saying here you can't enjoy a movie. And if you like this film, that's cool. I mean, I ain't gonna make fun of you, but I'll make fun of you. I'm respectful, no matter what movie. Even if you like one of the worst movies in the world, or I think it's one of the worst movies ever, you like it, that's cool. Anyway, I've been doing a superhero marathon on my YouTube channel. I've been doing what I call the 2010s era of superhero reviews, and now I'm on the year 2013. A couple movies here. Now I did review Superman Unbound and Man of Steel. I did put those on my super reviews playlist and my DC reviews, and The Dark Knight Rises and Batman: The Dark Knight Returns Part One and Two. I reviewed those already, and Superman vs. the Elite. Those were 2012 and some 2013 there, but I don't have to review those. So these films I'm talking about now, they came out in the month of July. And this is a 2013 Western action film directed by Gore Verbinski and written by Justin Haig, Ted Elliott, and Terry Russo. It's based on the title character of the same name. The film stars Johnny Depp and Armie Hammer. These guys made the Pirates of the Caribbean films, of course. Johnny Depp played Captain Jack Sparrow. Sorry, Captain Jack Sparrow. But it's not a Pirates of the Caribbean movie. This film came out in 2013 and it flopped for a good reason. This film sucks. This film is so boring. And this is going to be a rant, definitely. A lot bigger rant than I was a little soft on Iron Man 3, but I'm not going to, yeah, I took it easy on Iron Man 3. At least I felt I did. This film, I'm not. That is The Lone Ranger. Yes, I saw this with my grandparents, my grandmother, Sally, who passed away in October. I took her and my papa, my mom, and I think brother, we saw The Lone Ranger, and I regret that. I wish we never saw this. Because no, my papa, he's a fan of the show, I think, TV series, and I'm sure that's a lot better than this. This film was just boring to sit through and very forgettable. Yeah. I don't like the lead. I like Johnny Depp in it though. But despite that, let's get into the Lone Ranger. Now, you say this movie, you're probably not thinking, well, why are you reviewing this? This ain't super. Well, I've always considered the Lone Ranger. He's an outlaw, but I consider him a hero. He fights outside the law, so I think the character is like the great grandfather of the Green Hornet, and they're both outlaws, but they both are heroes in their own way. He's Green Hornet's the heroes of like the modern day, and Lone Ranger is a hero on Tonto, his sidekick Tonto. You know, kind of like Green Hornet and KO. They're heroes. They're just more like they're more outlaws, kind of like Batman, but different kind of characters. You know, Army Hammer. Please don't play Batman. I don't want to see that. I'm glad he was never picked. Stay with Robert Pattinson, please. I rather still Robert was a lot better than the lead in here. Johnny Depp was good though, because he's actually the one trying. But I think this film was made. I do consider this a superhero film. I consider the character like a superhero, a hero, if you will. So that's why I'm adding it to this marathon. But honestly, it's one of the worst films of 2013. One of the worst movies ever made, I think, because it's just terrible. And I think it was made because the MCU and you had Iron Man 3 that came out a month before this, and May 3rd, and that movie made $1 billion at the box office, and the Avengers. So that's probably why Disney. This is also made from Disney. I think Disney wanted to capitalize. So let's just make a Lone Ranger movie. That's why you have like the Green Hornet because the MCU films, the Dark Knight trilogy, Dark Knight Rises came out year four, maybe and stuff. So they're probably thinking, yes, let's just get the Lone Ranger from the old TV show. Let's make a live action movie about it, and it'll make a bunch of money. You know, yeah. By development, in March 2002, Columbia Pictures announced their intention to make a Lone Ranger film with Classic Media, who owned the film rights to this time. Husband and wife producers Douglas Wick and Lucy Fisher joined the project. The tale was to be similar to The Mask of Zorro, which, by the way, is a better movie with Antonio Banderas and Catherine Zeta-Jones and Anthony Hopkins. And Columbia suggested that Toronto be written as a female love interest. The projected budget was set at $7 million. David and Janet Peoples were hired to write the script the following year. which was written by Leto Polusk. Jonathan Mostow was attached to it by late 2005, but Columbia placed the film in turnaround. The Western Company was interested in purchasing the film rights classified in 2007, but the deal fell apart when entertainment rights eventually optioned for the producer. They teamed with producer Jerry Buckner, who brought The Lone Ranger to Walt Disney Pictures. Ted and Terry Bresser, who worked with Buckner and Disney on the Pirates of the Caribbean, or Caribbean, whatever, film series, which has been pulled to the right script in late March 2008. Elliott and Rosso were in final negotiations. Disney then announced in September 2008 that Johnny Depp would be portraying Tonto, while the Elliott Rosso script was rewritten by Justin Haythe. Depp has said he believes he has a Native American ancestry, possibly from a great grandmother. He also said that he considered the role a personal attempt to try to right the wrongs of the past. And Rosso portrays of Native American cultures in the media. The Elliott and Rosso script reportedly had a supernatural plot element involving coyotes. In May 2009, Mike Dibble, who was then directing Prince of Persia at this time for Buckner Disney, entered negotiations to direct Will Ranger. Buckner explained that the following June that he wanted to wait in hiring a director until Nibble completed Prince of Persia, until Depp finished Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, which honestly I think that movie's a lot better than this, but that's just me. The property is the most definitely Pirates form, Buckner commented. They're going to cast the title role once they get a director and Disney greenlights, who don't have a director yet. In September 2010, Gore Crispy was announced to Gore Farisky, I can't say his name right, to direct, and hiring was made official that October. Farisky has suggested giving the role of Toronto Depp while filming the second Pirates of the Caribbean film. Filming was slated to begin after Depp finished working on Dark Shadows, which I don't really care to see that movie. I think my mom and sister saw that movie in theaters though. I think I remember them saying that it wasn't really that good, but anyway. Armie Hammer set to play the Lone Ranger. A role that Buckner described as being written for a young Jimmy Stewart character. I'm like, he ain't no Jimmy Stewart. Yeah, whatever. But on August 12th, 2011, Disney announced that the production of Lone Ranger would be delayed due to budget concerns expressed by CEO Bob Iger, who ruins Disney nowadays with his cash grab remakes. I'm looking at you, Mufasa reboot, whatever, rewrite. The studio production team considered the film a little budget, with Philip, Buckner, Depp, and Hammer equally deferring 20% of their salaries to overall the cost. After years in the project's production, problems in 2011, Disney confirmed that the film was back on the track and the budget was reworked to give the studio a chance to regroup its costs. Initially, filming was reported to begin on February 6, 2012, a release date for May 31st, 2013, which was moved to the 4th of July weekend of that same year. After Alan F. Warren placed Richie Ross, chairman of the Walt Disney Pictures in 2012, he began working right away on the film. Assistant on showing most of the scene where Cadence East End reads Horn later explained, I like my heart in any movies, but not that much heart. Press photography began on March 8, 2012, soon after the first shot Depp as Tonto and Hammer as Lone Ranger was released. I guess photographed film locations extended throughout 6 states: Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, and California. Some film occurred in Greed, Colorado in June 2012, Mope, Utah, Carmen Canyon State Park, New Mexico in August. The film was shot in the automatic format, with cinematographer Bergen Bisley using Ponsa C and G series lenses. Daytime tours were about 7% of the film. Were shot on Kodak Vision 3. The, sh- the shoot met with several problems, including weather, wildfires, a chickenpox outbreak, and on the death of a crew member, Mike Ranger Bridger, on September 21st, 2012. Bridger, a water safety expert, died while working inside a large water tank well. Several cast members had received formal training on horseback riding, gunslinging, and lassoing. Industrial Light Magic created the visual effects of the Lone Ranger, including a CGI rendering the Golden Gate Bridge. The music score was done by Jack White, was hired to compose the score for the film, and he was replaced by Hans Zimmer. Yeah. As a result of production setbacks, Lone Ranger faced numerous release date changes, and in June, December, but it didn't get delayed. It kept on getting delayed. I do remember the trailer and stuff for the movie, making that to be a big deal at the time. Jerry Butler said to Lone Ranger he wanted to have a sequel position in the film as a franchise starter. However, the sequel was ultimately canceled, probably because the film failed. That's why. Yeah. The film received negative reviews from critics and grossed only $206.5 million against an estimated 225. I'm going with the 200. I guess you can say speculating that, but I think it's $225 million. Yeah, and it was a box office bomb, losing Disney over 106, probably 199. I think 190 million, $190 million this movie lost for it. So probably lost a bit of money. I don't know why I got nominated for best visual effects. I mean, I do like the makeup in for Johnny Depp's character Tonto. It looks good. But visual effects? Are you kidding me? The Mask of Zorro had better effects than this. Mm. Shoot, even the sequel had better looking effects than this. The sequel's Legend of Zorro was disappointing, but it didn't bore me to death like this. One positive review said the film parts both part franchise, part panache, violent incident. Okay, I'm just reading here. Some critics gave it, I disagree with that. Well thought out and beautifully, at times insanely executed with excitement, laughs, and fun to make you feel 7 years old again. No, it just wasn't production trouble. Yeah, the film did win Worst Prequel Remake Role. Good. Deserved it. And outstanding visual effects, I'm sorry. I just don't think it's that outstanding, but that's just me. I think some of the critics were a little too soft on this movie. But that's just my opinion. But for the cast, you have, Johnny Depp and Armie Hammer are in the leads. Johnny Depp is Tonto, the aged narrator of the events of his life, who's recruited John Reed to bring justice to those responsible for massacring his tribe during childhood. And of course, to get his own score. And Johnny Depp, I love him as an actor. His first role was in Nightmare on Elm Street. That it was Glenn. I think his character's name was. He was in Platoon. I think I might have seen Platoon. I don't think I ever had. I don't know. But seeing Gilbert Gray. Never seen Ben and Joe. I need to see Ed Wood. I really like Sleepy Hollow. I love Edward Scissorhands. Plenty of review for that. Say what you will about Edward Scissorhands, but that's a better movie than this. If you want to talk about good, beautiful visual effects, go watch Edward Scissorhands. That has some beautiful effects in it. Yeah. And of course, Pride. That's a good movie. Sweeney Todd, never seen that, but I want to check it out. And I like him as Captain Jack Sparrow in other parts of the Caribbean movies. I'm not big on like I don't care for Orlando Bloom, I think his name is Bloom, and Karen Knightley. Not a fan of them, but Johnny is great. That's why I really like on Stranger Tides. And Army Hammer is John Reed, the Lone Ranger, a youthful lawyer later deputized as the next Ranger. He becomes the Lone Ranger after his death. He was in The Social Network. I think he was also in The Man from Uncle, co-starring with Henry Cavill, which I like Henry Cavill in the movie, but I didn't like him. I'm not a fan of this actor, but that's just me. And William Fichtner as Butch Confidence, a ruthless and outlaw yeah, that's the Butch character right here, who's like possibly the main villain, but spoiler, there'll be spoilers in this movie. He is not. William Fichtner also, he was in The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. That was the 2005 remake. That was the remake from Burt Reynolds' movie, but Burt Reynolds was also in the Longest Yard remake as the coach in that movie. But he was good in that movie. He was also in The Dark Knight. If you remember, he shoots one of the Joker's goons. He was like, "You have any idea who you're stealing from?" For a short time, he was great in The Dark Knight. I wish he would have had a longer part in that movie. And of course, he was in Michael Bay's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 2014, and that film was awful too, in my opinion. Yeah, but he's done some good movies here and there. I think he was also Let's see, in Armageddon with Bruce Willis. Yeah, he was. Okay, yeah, but good actor. The late Tom Wilson as Lame Cole, a barely and Railroad Tycoon. Tom Wilson, great actor. He was in Batman Begins. He's great in that. In this movie, it just seems like he's doing it for the paycheck. I'm sorry to say that. He was great in The Patriot. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind with Jim Carrey. Batman Begins, like I said, he was great in that. And he was also in The Green Hornet again, film where he was also the main villain of Rush Hour. He was also in Black Knight, co-starring with Martin Lawrence. That's a hilarious movie. Yeah, but that's more like ancient medieval times. But that movie's more entertaining than this. Ruth Wilson as Rebecca Reed, Dan's wife, John's love interest. She was in Saving Mr. Banks. I'm the pretty thing that lives in the house in Dark River. Gorgeous woman, but kind of just useless here. The writing doesn't do her any favors. Helen Beaumont Carter, who I think was actually, yeah, that's her right there. Beautiful in this movie. As Red Harrington, she, owns like prostitutes and stuff. She's like the madam of them, and she has a gun for a leg. But I think she was actually married to Johnny Depp. Not Johnny Depp. She's married to Tim Burton for a while, like in 2001. Yeah. I think she was in Big Fish. She was in Fight Club. Frankenstein from 1994. Howard's End. Charlie and Chocolate Factory remake. Of course, Bride. She did work with Tim Burton. I think. Yeah, like I said, Big Fish. Alice in Wonderland remake and Dark Shadows. A good actress. James Bagel Dill as Dan Reed, John's older brother. Oh, he was in Iron Man 3. I didn't recognize that. But maybe he would have been interested in Lone Ranger. Yeah, he was terrible in Iron Man 3. He's fine here, but he dies. His character does. Brian Prince is Daniel Danny Reed Jr., who is the son of Dan and the nephew of John Reed. Barry Pepper as Jay Fuller. I think he was in Saving Private Ryan. He was great in that movie. The Green Mile. He was Saving Private Ryan. The Green Mile. Really amazing movies. The Green Mile is long. Like this movie's long, but the difference is Green Mile has a really good story. And Saving Private Ryan's long too, but both films are very unique. They're well directed and well made films that have good stories to them. And he was good in Enemy Mistake. Enemy Mistake you might consider a long movie that, but those films have better stories. I think he was also in. Let's see, Crawl. Yeah, I like Crawl. That movie was shorter than this. And Mason Cook as well, a young boy living in 1930 San Francisco. He was in Spy Kids all the time. Hi, whatever. Don't know this kid too much. Sagnet Grant as Chief Big Bear, good actor, passed away in '85, died in 2021. He's in the Lone Ranger. He's in the Ridiculous Six. Oh yeah, terrible Adam Sandler movie that was on Netflix. Harry Treadway as Frank. I remember Butch's Gang. He was in Star Trek Picard, the TV series. I've never seen it. Lou Temple as Hollis. Oh, he was in Angels in the Outfield as a baseball player. Love that movie. Lee Rubin as Collins. He was in The Patriot. Stephen Root is in this movie. You should know him as the voice of Bill Dotrick in King of the Hill. He was also in the movie Dodgeball, A True Underdog Story. Funny movie. And he was in the movie Get Out as well. Crocodile 92, he was in that. But yeah, good actor. Bicentennial Man, he was in that. Good movies. Good actor. James Frain as Barrett. Okay, wait a minute. Was he in Gotham? I'm trying to look this up. Sorry. See, I just recognize the actor's face. Oh, he was in Law and Order, TV show, Lone Ranger. Okay, yeah. He appeared in the second season of Gotham as Israel. Azrael. Yeah. Damien Herman is in this movie. I think we've seen him in any films. He's in Son of the Mask. Oh, let's see. Son of the Mask. Yeah, he was an employee in that crappy movie. Joan Kuzgan. I can't say his name right. He was in this movie too. He was in the Suicide Squad from 2021. Quantum of Solace. Wait a minute. Quantum of Solace. Let's see. 2008. Solace. Oh, he was the General Medrano. Okay, yeah. I remember him in that. He was Remember Last Blood. Quantum of Solace is better. Um, the film is directed by Gore Grinchy. He's best known for directing Mouse Hunt, The Ring, and the three Pirates of the Caribbean films, and of course this movie. He also directed Ringo for Johnny Depp. I never seen that movie, but I think Johnny Depp is the voice. The film has three writers. That is Justin Haythe, Who wrote The Lone Ranger? He wrote Snitch, which I like. That was definitely one of the best movies of 2013, in my opinion, with The Rock. I enjoy Snitch. I thought that was a good film. Ted Elliott. He's co-written the films like Aladdin, The Mask of Zorro, Shrek from 2001, Pirates of the Caribbean series, The Road to El Dorado, Small Soldiers, Story for Gaza, 1998, Mask of Zorro, which films I do enjoy. Treasure Planet, Disney movie, National Treasure, but he's uncredited. And The Legend of Zorro sequel and some of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and the Aladdin remake, which I guess I don't know if he was involved in that, but Terry Russo, he co-wrote the films like Aladdin and The Mask of Zorro and Shrek. And you got the two writers here, Terry Russo, who wrote the classic Disney 1992 Disney classic Aladdin and The Mask of Zorro. Good movies. Mm-hmm. And I love, like I said, I love Gods of Night. A lot of people don't, but I like Mask of Zorro and Small Soldiers, Road to El Dorado and Shrek, Treasure Planet, underrated movie. Some of these movies, well, the first two Pirates of the Caribbean movies I like as well. World's End I wasn't big on. That was too long as well. Yeah, Aladdin remake, I watched some of that and I thought it sucked. And the stories by them too. Space and Lone Ranger by Frank Stryker, with George W. Crandall, produced by Jerry Buckner, Will Furness, cinematography by Boljan Brazil. I'm sorry I butchered that name completely. Let's see. He did the cinematography for Hairspray, Rock of Ages, Spectacular, Snake Eyes, Murder Mystery 2, Peter Pan and Wendy, edited by James Haywood, Tron Legacy, White Club, Gregwood. Uh, I guess they're brothers that work on the same stuff. I don't know. Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of Black Pearl, The Weatherman, some of the Pirates of the Caribbean sequels, Rango, Guardians of the Galaxy 2014. Did the cinematography or editing for that. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Craven, and recently Eternals and Craven the Hunter. We're recently. Yeah. Music by Hans Zimmer. He did the music score for the Dark Knight trilogy, The Lion King. Yeah, I love his score to that. And some Pirates of the Caribbean movie and Man of Steel, which I like his score to Man of Steel. No Time to Die, Inception. So he's worked with Christopher Nolan. Production companies are Walt Disney Pictures, Jeremy Buckner Films, Glen Week Productions, distributed by Walt Disney Studios. It was released July 3rd, 2013 here in the United States. It's 149 minutes long. The film is 2 hours and 30 minutes long. The budget was 225.2 million. Point. I think it's $225 million. That's what I'm going with. Yeah, or 250, whatever. 225 because the film only made $260.5 million worldwide, but it was considered a box office flop. Yeah. Well, I'm saying 250 million then because or 225 because it seems like the movie, whatever budget, the mystery of the budget is of this film, it didn't really do well at the box office. Yeah. Yeah, here we are 11 years. It's going to be 11 years when this movie turns 11 in July, and it still have no sequel. I wonder why. But the character of the Lone Ranger, like I said, it came from a TV show. Yeah. Tonto is the companion of the Lone Ranger. Tonto's appeared in radio and television series and other presentations of the character. Tonto made his first appearance on the 11th episode of the radio show Lone Ranger. I don't have to sit here time to read all that. The Lone Ranger is never seen without his mask or some sort of disguise. He was never captured or held for any length by lawmen, avoiding his man being unmasked. Whenever he was forced to use guns, he never shot to kill, but instead tried to disarm his opponent. He rarely referred to himself as Lone Ranger. Just reading a little bit. I'd love to read more about it. It seems interesting. But since I'm going to talk about this movie, I don't want to sit here and talk all day about this film. Or else we'll be sitting here longer all day, so I don't want to do that. So anyway, yeah, the film gets 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. Needs to be a little lower. But anyway, the story of the Lone Ranger is that the plot of the movie is that in 1933, a boy discovers an ancient Native American and its actual carnival tent. That is, the Indian is Tonto, and he's the old companion of John Reed, aka the Lone Ranger, a lawman more famously known as the Lone Ranger. With this opportunity to set the record straight about his and Reed's adventures, Tonto recalls the days 1969 When he first encountered the man who betrusted his friend and tells of their teamwork bringing down Butch Cleveland and 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 other Old West outlaws. Butch Cleveland, this character right here, who's the main villain of the film. So you think so? There's more of a plot device, and there were spoilers. He's not clearly the main villain of the film, but the film makes you think that. Uh, his brother gets killed. John Reed, the Lone Ranger here. His brother gets killed, just like the Mask of Zorro. When the brother gets killed, and he's out for revenge and becomes the Lone Ranger. Yeah, and they have to stop this corrupt man, Tom Wilkinson, who has a I don't know, plan to get rich from profit, plan to take over the United States, whatever, and doing it out of revenge, I guess you can say, something like that. And the Lone Ranger and Tonto have to stop them and basically save the day. Yippee! I'll talk about the movie itself and give my final opinion on this film. And the young boy's played by Mason Cook, though, by the way. Yeah, says he was in Spy Kids movie. I've never seen them, but I haven't seen some of the Spy Kids movie like in a long time. Anyway, I'm gonna talk about the movie itself and give my final opinion on the film. So the film opens up in 1933, San Francisco. You have this young boy named Will, who's kind of dressed up like the Lone Ranger. He's got the mask off. He sees this Indian statue and stares at him and his Tonto. And Tonto's like, trade for food? Huh. He recognizes him as like, he's a huge Lone Ranger fan. He's like, you Lone Ranger? And you see them, first of all, he's like, well, we work together very well. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, he says, we work together very, very well. You have the opening here of them, like you see in the trailer. They go and they're going to rob a place. And they say, you serious? And Tonto throws like the hammer at the guy's hat. And they're gonna rob them, and it's like, wait a minute, you worked with the Lone Ranger, you robbed banks. Lone Ranger didn't do this. Like, we robbed some. So he takes us back in time, tells a story. I've seen this in plenty of other movies where we tell a story. I don't know. Yeah. So it takes us to the year of 1869. Well, before the bank robbery, you have in the train car, you have Outlaw Butch, along with Tonto, who's been arrested. Tonto has a bit of a past. He's like, doing his Indian stuff, which I thought was funny though. I mean, Johnny tries. Again, I do like the makeup. It seemed like Johnny Depp was having a good time playing Tonto. This should have just been his movie. It would have been a hell of a lot better. It's like Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. Feel how you feel about that movie? At least Johnny's the star of the movie. And that's what makes it great, makes it good. But not in this movie. He just needed a better co-star. But you have Army Hammer, who is John Reed. He's a lawyer. His brother Dan Reed's like a Texas Ranger. He's like the badass of the two. The same guy who played, you know, one of the secondary villain in Iron Man 3 that came out the same year as this. Um, they're waiting for the train to come. Butch is making them to rob it. Butch, is able to steal a gun. Tonto is trying to tell them, He's like, I gotta go to the bathroom, Brondo. But he points the gun. Tonto's like, he takes a piss, and then he points and shoots the gun at them. And Army Hammer, he's a weak link of a character. He's a useless, lame character. He tries to give a girl her little bunny back. He's like, here you go, catch. He throws it at the window by accident. The baby cries. Wow, idiot. And he sees one of the men going. He, walks on in. I'm like, what are you thinking? Are you that stupid? Walking to somebody who has a gun. He could have been shot. Butch doesn't shoot him apparently, but he's able to point the gun at Butch somehow. Or, you know, Tonto takes it away. He takes it away from Tonto. And Tonto wants like revenge on him for some reason. Well, get the story a little later. But once again, Butch, they escape. Him and Butch, they, Tonto and and John. They get the chains off, they run off the train, they knock some of the bad guys down. It's a big old CGI galore. Visual effects. Visual effects look terrible in this film, and they nearly get hit by the train. An over top action scene. John tries to walk away, and John tries to arrest him, and they put Tonto in the prison, and Tonto is listening to John and Dan's wife talking. It seems like she is more in love with him, cliche, type thing. That she's married, she technically likes him, and they said, well, we're gonna go find Butch, and we're gonna arrest him, and that's what he's ordered to do by Tom Wilkinson, who's like a guy who wants to create a train. Seems like a nice guy. Um, that's what it comes off as, and they go and they get ambushed. They get shot. One of his brother's cops, former Rangers, betrays him. And Butch says, you say something for me, I'll take something for you. So he cuts his heart out. You don't see it. But at least in The Mask of Zorro, the sickest thing about that general in the villain there, he liked, when he killed his victims, when he enjoyed killing it, he would take their body parts and keep it in a jar. At least Mask of Zorro has some guts to show some blood in there. This movie just hides it. You just see blood in his hand. I'm like, wow. But this is Disney, so they can't really show that. Yeah. 'Let them cool. Yeah, that's Tom Wilkes' name. He lets her get a scar, flirts with her a little bit. I guess has a thing for her, which is a little weird because he's a bit of an older man. But anyway, so they get killed. Tonto buries the men, and apparently the horse Silver thinks that he's a spiritual warrior. So Tonto brings him back to life. He has nightmares. He's like, "What'd you do to me?" My mom buried you. He's like, "I buried you in dirt." Horse stupid or pretend to be stupid? Not no. But says you're a great warrior. He's like, "You want me to wear a mask?" You know. And you have these CGI rabbits that frightening, by the way. But he talks about that, we can go get revenge or whatever. Mm. We can go save Rebecca, stuff. But since they think you're dead, it's pretend that you be that way. Like I said, killing that's just a rip off of Mask. Because the same people that wrote the Mask of Zorro just plan to rip it off. Like the Mask of Zorro, he wants revenge for his brother. Seen that before in the Mask of Zorro. You know, yeah. And I'm sorry, unlike Antonio Banderas, who's by the way great as Zorro, El Duego. I can't say the character's name right, but still a Spanish name, but still. And Antonio Banderas has personality. He's funny. He has the charm. You know, he could walk footsteps. He could walk right over Amy Hammer's Lone Ranger any day. And he's a badass with a sword. Yeah. So he wants to become the Butch's men will fear. Yeah. The whole point of Zorro, though, so anybody can be Zorro, but Zorro can be fear one in the land who protects the land. You know. Yeah. They go to the brother owned and operated by Red Hargan, played by Ellen Bone Carter. She lost her leg to the cannibal Butch. They try to ask her for help, but she refuses. She's like, "Why didn't you just say so?" Tells them about Butch. They try to get out. The bad guys show up. They're trying to run tunnels to get out of there. And apparently, Lone Ranger, no, where's his mask? I'm trying to figure out what was the mask for. Just hiding my face, ma'am, or something, whatever. Anyway, he brings her back the cat. He's like, "Here's your cat, ma'am," like an idiot. She has a rifle hiding inside her leg. She shoots one of the guys trying to mess around with her girls. Well, shoots a chair. These lawmen, they want to kill Tonto. They do escape, and the mob take off. You know, the white men are mad because the Comanche Indian tribe, because there might be a war coming. You know, John wants to save Rebecca and Danny, who are captured. You see them with Butch, and him like trying to flirt with Rebecca, and she like slaps him, she's gonna stab her, but he tells one of the Rangers men to go kill her or whatever, and he doesn't do it. Tells him to run, shoots her or whatever. Well, he gets shot or whatever by some other man. They're in the desert doing chores. Eventually, they get it. Flamings or throwing lighthouses on fire. I'm just reading because I just can't understand. Well, not understand, but this movie's just very forgettable. Tonto and Jomicide, they come up against his men. They briefly, or he's like, I was trying a gun, and I knew shoots the gun. It just goes stupidly and it kills the man, and the other guy gets away. That's when he goes tells Butch about it. They think it's the ghost of Dan Reed, but not known as his brother. They take one of Butch's horses and set on the way home. They follow 4 hours, and the horse stops and falls over dead. And he's like, oh, and John, Lone Ranger says to Tonto, oh, Kimosabi, we need to talk to. He's like, talk to it. You can do anything. What do we get? Where's the way? Nothing. And they argue. And there is no chemistry between these two whatsoever. They feud. Oh, yeah. The Lone Ranger himself, John, gets struck by an arrow. Screams like a girl. I can't do scream on scream, but he screams like a girl, like a wimp, like the character he is. They captured by the Indians. He tells them, look, we don't, there's this war going on. You're this general, played by the guy from Saving Private Ryan and The Green Mile. There's a war with the Indians going on, and he tells them, Tonto told me on spiritual world, like, you believe what Tonto says. Tonto lie. He tells them that Tonto, these men came, were sick, and young Tonto brought them to the village to get better, but they saw silver in there. This is, spoiler alert, this is actually like Tom Vulcan's character, a younger version of him, and I guess Butch as well, because apparently they're brothers. Spoiler alert. Yeah, I'm going to spoil it. That's the spoil the hell out of this movie for you. Sorry. So if you've seen this movie, don't believe me. You're not wasting. You'd be wasting you'd be saving your time of the 2 hours and 30 minutes of your life won't be taken away like it was for me. But anyway, Tonto, showed him where the gold was at. They traded him for a watch. They killed his people, and now he's out for revenge. Even though Tonto stupidly, gave them a trade. I'm like, your people are dead because of you, Tonto. Yeah. In a way, your blood is on their hands because you kind of did it. They killed his tribe because they wanted to keep it a secret. They even killed Tonto's crew. And on that day, Tonto went crazy. That's why he has the dead crow on his head. And he'll like feed the crow. It's a reminder of his betrayal. They get ready to go to the Warriors Cavalry. They put Tonto's heads in the dirt, but the horse comes to save him. It's like, where's the river? I don't know where the river's at. So they go shovel in the river. You know, then you have these Chinese workers who are afraid to go in. Butch kills them because they're trying to get into gold or whatever. And he gets one of his men to go in there. And it's Tonto and Lone Ranger doing basically the Dark Knight versions of Batman. If you remember when Batman and Catwoman were walking there sneaking on people in a crappy way, that's what they do here. And they send a railroad cart out, and it's got a bomb in it, dynamite. Dynamite blows up, and he asks Bush, "Where's Rebecca and Danny at?" Oh, she smelled good. And then like he had somebody's like, "I can't do it, alone, man." I was like, "Kill him." No, we're just doing this for justice. Like, white man, you coward. And Tonto's gonna kill him. Like, you involved me killing this, and Tonto punches him. Then he gets the shovel, and that's when I was like, "I'm grateful to you, counselor." He's like, "Shut up," and he takes him to the meeting, and you have Tom Wilkinson with Rebecca and Danny, and he's a little harsh on Danny. And like I said, he has a thing for Rebecca. Eventually, Lone Ranger shows up, takes off his mask, or his mask is already off because he took it off. He's like, "Oh, I'm not this man you want me to be." Tonto wakes up, and is like, "Stupid white man," has to go save him because like I said, this character is a wimp. Tonto should be the star of the movie because our lead character sucks. He talks to them and he's with them, and it was posted in Butch's gang, and she's creeped out by Tom Wilson. He tries to come on to her. Yeah, he beats on Bush a little bit, but I mean, he beats on Cole beats on Bush a little bit. They take the custody of Bush and give him a few good kicks, and he realizes that Cole is their captor who kidnapped them. And more so, they figure that Cole and Butch were the, like I said, brothers from Tonto's tale story. They return to pillage their land and get away scot free. So I guess they're doing everything for profit in politics and stuff. John holds Cole at gunpoint and walks into the neighboring car. John, Cole, and Danny wrestle with a gun away from Cole's men. Cole attempts to convince Danny that John killed his father. Like, is my dad dead? Is that true? Then you have Captain Fuller walks in the commotion, and apparently Captain Fuller is with them, and they really get to shoot down the Lone Ranger. They were to kill him, and Rebecca, using a bit of her charm on Tom Wilkins is like, please don't do this, and he won't listen. And Tonto shows up, causes an explosion, gets someone on a train ride, like this. Kimasabi, don't look. He's like, Rebecca, Danny, I'll come back for you. And they end up in this hole. Bush throws a dynamite in there. They jump the water. They get out of the woods. Like, there is no law. And he puts his mask away. He's like, I'm gonna be an outlaw from now on because there is no justice. As you can say, justice is going out the door because the men that break the law are now in charge and corrupt. You know, and the law can't is not doing anything about it. So he decides to become the Lone Ranger for good. So John and Tonto come up with a plan. They put all these a bunch of uh, dynamite. Don't know how they did all that, but they put it up and down a little bit on the train track. Blow the train track up. You know, you know. Ellen Bonham Carter's character. She distracts Captain Fuller. Well, Captain Fuller, I mentioned they're fighting with the Indians. He kills the leader of the tribe, the chief. But later on, they're having the day where they're going to celebrate the train, and they give him his watch, and he doesn't appreciate that. And Cole Tom Wilson says, "I'm going to take over." He shoots Stephen Root like in the knee. It says, "Any objections for me to rule over?" Whatever. They silver cores. They were the ones that robbed the bank though to get the bombs. They play the Star Spangled Banner song. Cole intends, has to take over the railroad. He's trained with $65,000 million in net worth of silver to San Francisco, and he's going to use that money. He will buy the railroad. And they're like, "Are you insane?" You know, Tonto sneaks onto the other train. Catapult takes notice, but Helen Wilhelm Carter's character, she like distracts him with her leg. She does this shot. Tonto sneaks on the plane, and they're about to make another shot, but then the Lone Ranger comes. The best thing about this movie is the Lone Ranger theme that they play. And there's a chase scene that with the train, Rebecca and Danny are on it, and they got her. And Captain Fuller tries to shoot the boy. The boy has a slingshot, shoots him in the face with it. He shoots at the Lone Ranger a bit. There's guns ablazing. He fights with Butch a bit. He's like, "Butch, you gonna arrest me this time, counselor?" No. He's like, "That was better done in RoboCop, by the way." He rises, he's like, "Goodbye, counselor." He's riding on the train with the horse. But before they can get to the tunnel, Silver jumps down. Butch and Fuller end up on two separate cars, though. It kills them both because it wrecks into each other. Cole fire, is going to shoot a gun at shoot Tonto, but he's like, "I'm a spirit warrior, can't miss." And by chance, since he's a spiritual warrior, shoots the gun out of Tom Wilkinson's hand. He's like, "Remember, my brother, remember my people." Because the Danny threw the silver bullet at him. Cole's trained along with the silver on the tracks by the water below. Well, Cole is fully buried by his silver. He's on the train. He gets thrown out, and dies. And the watch goes up in the water out of his hand, and he dies. I guess you could say Tonto saved got justice for his people. So John, Stephen Root, they thank John for saving the day, trying to make him a lawman. Let him take the mask. He's like, "Nope, not going to do that." He takes off his John refuses to take off with his horse, and he tells Rebecca, who they share a kiss later, which again they have a chemistry. He's like, "Well, you live here, and I'm just going to go west." Yeah, and he screams out, "Hi, oh Silver, away!" Stupid, but I did laugh when Johnny Depp says lines in this movie like "never do that again" or "something very wrong with that horse," or was like "you and girl." You know, it's some funny moments with Johnny because, like I said, he's trying. Yeah. Then he returns to San Francisco. The old Tonto's preparing to go home after a long day's work. Puts on a jacket and bowler hat. Gives the kid Tonto trades the kid for a silver bullet, telling him to find out himself. Wu dons a mask on his face, like never take the mask off. The credits roll with Tonto as he slowly walks through a western landscape. I guess going back home, and then the movie ends there, and that's the Legend. I mean, the Lone Ranger. I was about to say Legend of Zorro. But give my final opinion on this movie. Give my final opinion on. I hated this film. Lone Ranger was terrible. This film is just boring, 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 boring. What do I like about this movie? Well, again, I like Johnny Depp in the lead role. He did a fantastic job. In my opinion, I need to plug up my phone for some reason. I wanted to go out. Yeah, hopefully I'll be getting charged on Wednesday. New charger. Yeah, I can plug my phone up a little better and don't have to worry about it messing up too much. Okay, but the Lone Ranger 2013. Yeah, like I said, a boring movie. It's terrible. Why? Because number one, what do I like about this movie? First of all, I do like Johnny Depp. He has some funny lines in here. William Fichtner tries as the villain. He should have been the main villain, but he's ultimately forgettable. His name's Butch. He's just a ripoff of the general I'm talking about from the Mask of Zorro movie. And those are better villains. Yeah, Stuart Wilson. Yeah, and the guy who plays General, they're great. They're really good villains. I might not remember the names, but I remember them being really good villains. This film tries to rip off Mask of Zorro. But it's from the same people who did the story for the wrote the script for that movie. You know. And Anthony Hopkins does a better job than Tom Wilkins. May he rest in peace. He's a great actor. But first of all, I don't like Armie Hammer at all. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. You know, Helen Bowman Carter. I think she does fine for what she does. She does pretty good, I think. But she's doesn't have much screen time in the movie. She does what she can. She's a good actress, but again, seen her in better movies. And the film is just boring. Oh, they have a 1981 movie, Legend of the Lone Ranger. I'm sure that's better than this. That's only a 98-minute movie. This movie had to be 149 minutes long. I'm like, the problem with the movie is it's way too long. But again, I do like Johnny Depp. Uh, Helen Bowman Carter, she tries, and so does William Fichtner. Yeah, Tom Wilson tries too, but it does seem like he's doing it for a paycheck. It's forgettable. The love interest serves no purpose. I don't buy her the chemistry between him and Hammer. I'm supposed to care for the lead, and I don't. I don't like this lead. He's lame. He's a cardboard cutout character, and he's just made of wood. He's just the wall has more entertainment than him. He's just a lame lead, gettable, bad dialogue from him. The film is just completely a bore to sit through. You know, I fell asleep a little bit half the time. You know, thinking to myself, is this movie going to be over yet? And yeah, the rest of the cast, they're there. Barry Pepper, he's trying. He's also trying. Some of the cast members try, but Gordon Frisbee and the writers of this film has three writers who give it a terrible story. The story I didn't care about. I didn't need the history or like they want to give us the origin of Lawrence. Because again, it's following Marvel, DC, or superhero movies that have origin stories. It tries to go to an origin story with Lone Ranger, and you didn't need to do that. I guess try to bring it to modern age, and you failed at that completely because the film is too long. It's like Pirates of the Caribbean War of the End. Way too long. The story's not interesting. Johnny Depp is trying. He's the most things watchable thing in this movie. His character I thought was a badass and could, do a lot more in here if they give him more to do. But he's useless in this movie. He's trying. Well, he's not useless. I'm sorry, but he tries. But the whole story with the kid and the Lone Ranger, it's just very bland and not interesting to me. I didn't care at all. It gets boring throughout the whole movie. The film's too long. I thought the visual effects looked like crap, and the explosions bad CGI. I thought it was bad CGI, some Marvel visual effects. Marvel has some better visual effects. Even Man of Steel have better visual effects than this. Yes. Cinematography is fine. I'll admit, some of the film does look nice. The West does look nice, but you want to talk about Western movies? This is as boring as Jonah Hex, by the way, with Josh Brolin and Megan Fox. That film's terrible too. Tombstone, that is a classic. I love Tombstone. Better shot movie. It had a good story. Kurt Russell and Doug Holliday and Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer. That film had a much better cast of people who actually did a great job. And it had a better story and better script. The editing, the action scenes, some of them are decent. I love the Lone Ranger theme playing. That's another good thing about it too. Yeah. The music of Hans Zimmer, I like it when he has the Lone Ranger theme in there. And Johnny Depp, some of the cast does try. Barry Pepper, Johnny Depp, William Fichtner, they try. Tom Wilkinson just seems to be doing it for a paycheck. And Helen Bonham Carter, they don't have much to do in this movie. they're just kind of thrown into the mix of the film, and it's trying to be like a Pirates of the Caribbean, you know, Marvel movie. Feels like it's trying to be that big and epic in scale, and I'm like, if you're trying to be the Avengers, you fail completely. Avengers made more much money, and even Iron Man 3, even though I don't like that movie made $1 billion. Well, that's because it was made like the Avengers, but still, Iron Man had more of a budget than this, and yeah, I don't like some of the effects of some of the extremist characters. Yeah, but the Lone Ranger is a boring movie. It's just terrible. It's one of the worst films I think ever made. One of the worst films of 2013. Like I said, 2013 was not a good year for movies, and this was one of them that was the worst. But if you want to call this one of the superhero movies, it's definitely one of the worst of that year. Again, watch The Mask of Zorro. That had a better story. It was more entertaining. Catherine Zeta-Jones and Antonio Banderas had good chemistry. Uh, the Mask of Zorro's mask and costume looked pretty cool, and the sword fighting was cool. That film had a lot better action. It was more entertaining to watch. You know, and Antonio Banderas was a lot better than Armie Hammer. You know, because he's a better actor in my opinion. That can do a great action movie. I'm not talking about like in his film, so he's annoying in that, but he's great as Zorro in the Zorro movies. Hell, this makes Legend of Zorro. This actually makes me want to go back and watch Legend of Zorro. Yeah, that film is way too long as well, but despite the problems, I can get a little entertainment out of that sequel for some part. At least I got Antonio Banderas, Catherine Zeta-Jones, who I like in that movie. At least I have them in that sequel. They're the only person for me to like in this movie is amazingly Johnny Depp, who steals the show. Depp is the best thing about this movie. Yeah, and some decent action scenes, but I don't like the backstory they give him. The villains are cliches, like, okay, but Butch is not the real villain. It's really Tom Wilkinson, and they're brothers, and they're evil, and they want to plan to take over you know, over the United States, I guess, whatever, profit. They remind me of the backstory. Yeah, the characters not brothers, but they might as well be. But and the whole plan of killing his Army Hammer's brother in the movie of his character, his brother, is the same thing as the Master Zorro. Yeah, but instead he gets trained by Anthony Hopkins, and that's more entertaining to watch. Because a lot of that movie's 217 minutes long though. If I recall correctly, I think 217 minutes long. This movie's 230 minutes, a lot longer and boring to watch, uninteresting, very bland, forgettable. It's just not a good movie. It's just crap. It's just boring to watch. But you will like Johnny Depp, and some of the cast does try. Some are doing it for a paycheck. Love interest doesn't work here. There's no chemistry. I'm not buying it. But the villains is very cliche. You know, oh, they're doing it for profit. Like I've seen it before. Oh, and they're brothers, and they're not the villain. He actually is his brother who's the real main villain. You know, and their deaths are in terrible CGI ways. The villain's death are terrible. Tom Wilkinson, he had a better death than Rush Hour. Say what you will about his character in Rush Hour, but he had a better motive, and his death is handled a lot more better and more practical. Yeah, and a better shot movie with better effect in it. Better shot movie. Yeah, and some of the West filter looks good. Like some of the trains look nice, but some of the explosions, it's just bad visual effects. Yeah, and the Lone Ranger thing, that was the best thing about it. But other than that, the film was just boring and tedious, and it's just forgettable. That's all I can tell you. It's just forgettable. 11 more years later, 10 more years later, this movie will be forgotten. I guarantee you. It'll just be remembered because it was tanked at the box office. It did flop. 11 years later, we have not had a sequel to this, or like the Green Hornet. Why? Because they suck. Because you have two leads that suck. Jay Chow tries as Kato. Johnny Depp is great, but again, they have a bad direction, bad script, and not much to work with. They can't save the movie. You know, but Johnny Depp was the best thing about it. But it's just the story is bland, and the film is just okay. I'm not gonna go back to all that. It's just a crap show of a movie, shit show of a movie. But The Lone Ranger, my rating for this film, I'm gonna give this 1 out of 5 stars, and a thumbs down for The Lone Ranger. Thumbs down, way down. My rating for this film is 1 out of 5 stars. Just watch the movie from the 80s. I give that a look, and watch the TV show from the 50s, I think, or 60s it was. I'm sure that's better than this. More entertaining to watch than this. Yeah, I regret seeing this film in theaters, but Lone Ranger, that's now I'm done with that. Alright. And for the next review, guys, next 2013 superhero review. Again, this isn't a superhero movie, it's more science fiction, kind of in a way. It's kind of basically a rip-off Man in Black. It stars Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds. And yeah, it is a film based on a comic book. And these characters, I would kind of say they're kind of like heroes, but they're dead. And they fight what you call deados or deados. Yeah. And it's a rest in peace department. That film is called R.I.P.D. Yes, yay, another fun movie to watch it through. But at least I'm getting through them. At least this movie is 1 hour and 36 minutes long. Yeah, but R.I.P.D. is next with Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds. Yay, another fun flop. Yeah, this one came out 2013 as well. But that's R.I.P.D. Starring Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds. This will be coming next, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully, maybe today it's what 5:28. Okay. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of the Lone Ranger? Have you seen the old TV series, the movie from the 80s? And what do you think of this movie? What do you think of Johnny Depp as Tonto? What do you think of this film in your opinion? Do you like it or do you hate it? And if you like it, that's fine. To each his own. I don't get the point, but sadly, we'll never get to see it because the film was a flop. Yeah. So anyway, that's the Lone Ranger. Just tell me in the comments down below what you think of this movie. And stay tuned for my next superhero review. Like I said, I do call these characters like super, even the Men in Black, but I'm saving the Men in Black for like a next set of reviews. Better movies, by the way, except International, that sucks. But anyway, so does this movie. But RIPD is next. Stay tuned for that, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.